doesn't think he's done anything wrong. Roldar thinks he's done the right thing.
Yeah. As advised by evil Vizier Saloro.
Maybe I should perfect recall and tell you every detail about what you did.
Exactly. Erevan remembers. He's like Petrich Farms.
It's also, so if Erevan ever died, now you have things written into my journal.
Not just reference.
Pepperidge Farm, remember?
Yeah.
I'm not
Yes, I did.
He went there. He went there.
I sure did, man.
We have crossed the line, never meant to be crossed in.
We have crossed the Rubicon. Oh, yeah. So yeah, that was the. Oh, excuse me. That was the last session of the Summer of Fun.
We ended on a high note, that's for sure.
Yeah, we did. You know, I'm happy how this session turned out. It's a proper send off for this season. I believe we're ending up calling it season 1.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm not sure if I could right now take anymore.
I think we'll need real life sanity check.
It'll be available on DVD in a few months.
Yeah.
For only $14.99.
In Blu-ray, yeah.
Exactly.
And with that,
In 29 easy payments.
Yeah. 29 easy payments.
4 cents.
But wait, there's more.
Oh,
Buy now and get the
Go now.
Saloro scriptures for free.
buy now and get a
Roldar purple shirt.
Yeah, Roldar
Extra,
purple.
extra included gift.
Get the T-shirt that says "I roll like the spider," and it's a D20 on it.
And a free DeviantArt subscription.
Yeah, free DeviantArt subscription. Yes. All the
Terrible.
All the Goliath porn you could ever
all
want.
the Goliath porn you can ever.
I like that it's Cobrag decides like challenge accepted on that, and then he looks up first page. Hey, it's just Goliath. Oh, okay, there's all the Goliath. Okay,
Yep. Yeah.
you're right, Griffin. You were right.
That's the Goliath penis right there. Yep. Let's close this window quickly.
I don't dare enter DeviantArt just searching a single word.
The thing is, I innocently searched it because I thought, you know what? I'll just Dungeons and Dragons Goliath. Click.
Uh-oh.
Right.
Dungeon.
Yeah, Dungeon Goliath.
Yep. It wasn't pleasant.
Are you surprised?
So I'm interested now, sort of at the end of this, to hear some feedback from you. And I'm very interested to hear feedback from, starting I think with Sheep actually, because this was your first time actually role playing, right?
One thing just to say, I think Grimith should go last because I think knowing Grimith, he'd have the most to say or the most impactful. So I think Grimith should
we go with Grimith last. Well, we start with Sheep here because this was your first actual role playing experience, correct?
Yes, it was actually.
Yeah,
It was certainly something. What I mainly learned is that thinking is really hard when you're laughing really, really hard. But other than that, it's very different watching like roleplay like on Griff's stream on Fridays and actually doing it. It's definitely something very different.
What would you say is the main difference?
I can't even put a proper word to it. It's like sometimes while playing with you guys on Mondays, I drift off thinking that I'm just watching, and then I realize, wait a minute, maybe I should say something. Nah, I'll just watch, and it's hard. It's a lot harder to actually participate.
It is. Do you feel you have gotten better at it?
Well, over the couple of sessions we had, I hope so. I can't really tell without watching what I've done before, and I really dislike watching Grimith's videos apart from looking at his notepad discussions with himself, because I hate listening to my own voice for some reason.
I have that same problem.
Yeah, it's I guess everyone has it.
Well,
almost everyone.
I don't have a huge problem because I hear myself speak so much. But yeah, all right. Sure. Well, if you would give sort of a moment you remember from the sessions, sort of a favorite moment, have you given any thought to it?
Well, before this session, there was something I quite remember quite well. I think it was during the session where Griff wasn't here, where we were in that strange dungeon with I'm sure where you remember, like with the zombie whack-a-mole and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I think that whole area. I'm not sure why, but I laughed so hard at pretty much everything that happened there, even though I can't quite remember what exactly happened. Maybe I was just drunk, but that would be strange because I don't drink. But that session certainly felt like I was drunk for some reason.
Now you know how Roldar feels.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think this session was by far the best one in terms of funniness.
I will say this is the. For me, I'm just quickly going to interject here and say that this session was was planned to be very short for my part. I didn't have much prepared for this, but I'm very happy to see that sort of the group's role play sort of carried a lot of this, and I think it made it a really good session.
It was certainly something. Not much happened, but then again, a lot of stuff happened. Strange.
Yeah, indeed.
The epilogue I had a lot prepared anyway, so.
Indeed. Yeah. So, well, yeah, that's good. So let's see here. Let's continue with Gogr or Satus or Arenoss, one of the many names.
Yeah, sure.
All of the above.
All of the above. Yeah.
Or the imps.
It's been very awesome. It's been one of the best role-playing experiences I have ever had.
Mm-hmm.
It's been great. One thing I like very much is all the detail you put into the maps, and that was really something actually.
Oh yeah, I will say quickly that to respond to that I have been very fortunate in that many of these maps, like I have like cribbed maps quite shamelessly from many different sources. Particularly, I have taken a lot of maps from a person. I don't know his real name actually. He had a site called the Mad Mapper, and he goes by the name of Tintangle. So if you ever need like a really good map, try to look up Tintangle, because the maps he produces are extreme high quality, and like I cast a look at them at one point. I was like, man, this is amazing. So like the map of the Glassworks, which was the first of his maps we used. I think that map really sort of shows off the care and detail he puts into them. So yeah, if you need maps, look him up. He's a superior map maker actually. I did some maps myself. I did most of the city maps and sort of the underground dungeon maps. I did those myself.
Right.
Yeah. Do continue.
Yeah, I do like the system. There are, of course, some problems with it, but I think it's actually pretty good, especially for new players to play with this 4th edition. I don't know if you agree, Sheep, but yeah.
Well, in terms of the 4E system, I think that's what you're referring to.
Yeah.
I have not played another system, but I have seen 3.5 and, well, I've investigated Pathfinder a bit. And I have to say 4E is very, very simplified, which is both good and somewhat bad, I think. I think what we've seen is that perception checks are just everything. That's
making you a very important character.
Yeah, it's a bit silly that perception, for example, is just such a huge thing. It's just used for everything, pretty much.
Yeah, certainly agree.
That is true. I would agree. Actually, I'm not sure if if it's a sort of a plague specifically for 4th edition, I would say that this is something that most role-playing games actually have.
Yeah,
Like that, perception skills are supremely useful, like
I've
all
noticed
the
same in
time.
Pathfinder a lot.
Pathfinder has it, but even other systems like I know Vampire, for instance. There are a lot of there's even a whole magical discipline called Auspex, like dedicated to noticing things. So yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
In most games, a certain skill like that is almost always very useful to have.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember this, Satus, but in the Swedish role-playing game Dragons and Demons,
Yeah.
there was actually a specific skill for spotting danger.
Yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, it was like a sixth sense that basically was on all the time. It was like passive perception here almost. That was on all the time for you to like notice ambushes or things that were wrong, like magic spells being cast and stuff. So you always sort of maxed that one out, so you never got surprised ever if you had that maxed out.
Yeah, I remember that. That was actually the first game I played. Was a version of that.
Same here.
It's the most common here, so.
It is. It still is actually. Yeah. Do you have a favorite moment or something you specifically remember from the sessions?
Yeah. Apart from this session, that was fucking awesome.
Awesome.
Awful, yeah, it was awful.
Both at once.
Yeah.
I would say the whole thing with Toothy was very funny.
Oh, it's toothy.
Oh, and if I may interject here, speaking of Swedish, I think that was another session where Griff wasn't here, or at least for part of it, where we interrogated one of the goblins, and Roldar started speaking Swedish.
Yeah, that was kind of funny.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that. I like speaking Swedish on.
Apparently, all my favorite moments happened when Griff wasn't here.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Griff.
Hey.
sorry. This session was definitely one of my favorites, if not the most favorite. So it's not your fault.
Yeah. It was mostly due to Griff that it was so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really pulled out all the stops here, Griff. So yeah, that's good. But yeah, I like Toothy too. I immensely enjoyed that Toothy took shape and became a character with a whole story and like people that envisioned the rule of Toothy and all the awesomeness he would do.
A very tragic character.
A very
I love random moments like that.
It was really good. It's probably one of my personal favorite moments. Actually, was Toothy.
Yeah. Another favorite moment would be Saloro stealing meat from Amico.
Just running for it like get a bird or something above. It's like it's the fuzz. She's it. And just ran for it. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that was very funny.
It was very good. Well, let's continue with DDS, shall we?
Okay, 1 second. I actually made a notepad for this earlier
Oh wow, excellent.
because I didn't know how many of these questions you'd have, so I just made stuff up.
Give it to us.
Well, if we go through like my favourite moments while we've done this entire thing, it was the dancing piano, a magical scarf that attacked Alvyn. I found that as actually quite an amusing thing.
It was not one of my favorite moments.
All the
Quite
stuff
opposite.
Grimith did with the ghost sound against the goblins,
Yeah.
I found that just hilarious during most of it. And other than stuff that was already been said, like War Chief Toothy, Grimith running off with meat. I actually found the nicknames were a really nice touch. I don't see many campaigns actually doing, like encouraging the players to do stuff like add nicknames.
Yeah, I got a tip from Spoonie the Bard, who actually he has a sort of a series called Counter Monkey where he talks about role playing and stuff, and I enjoy watching those. And much of it says that I think it's quite good. And one of the things he says, encourage players to create nicknames for the characters and give them a bit more flair. And especially if a nickname sort of is actually made up on the spot or made up from something in game, like the spider, for instance.
Which of course was that was a fun nickname to gain
Yeah.
from just maxing out all my athletic rolls at the very start of the campaign.
Just scaling everything. Hmm. That's
But I do have a bit more to add though. Like before the session, my utmost favourite thing was the screaming scarecrow moment with Roldar. But my newest favourite thing is actually the whole Roldar romance bit. Which ironically, both of these were actually, well, not ironically, but interestingly, both of these were actually caused by Grimith overall.
yeah. I think we almost have a new term here, like a Roldar romance, to sort of describe a romantic relationship.
Oh yeah.
And they always
That's
end
pretty
tragic.
You should have marked her, Gryphongod. You should have marked
There you go. Didn't put a ring on it.
I marked the wrong person. I marked the husband.
Oh.
Why would you put a ring on him?
Roldar still
I
got
like
a bit of while to figure out about human relations.
Well, I can't help you there. I'm not human.
The coward's
I'm not
way
going
out.
to help you.
I don't know. I'm not even your race. Don't ask me.
I'm sure Saloro can teach you everything he knows.
He's 1,000 lifetimes. He's seen the mating rituals before.
Oh Jesus.
Kama Sutra according to Saloro Soreasu. That's actually how he makes his money.
Of course, I think we've all agreed, like previously, though, like what the worst point in the sessions were, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Skulls of Doom.
Yeah, the Skulls of Doom, yeah. Yeah, that was bad.
Though we got over it, we kept fighting, and the only other time we had, well, we haven't really had, other than that, many moments where we haven't really had a moment like that where like it's been a really close fight where everyone's almost gone down, or everyone has been down.
Well, the fight in the last session was quite horrible, at least for me.
I mean, that session
didn't
was
hit anything.
That session was the closest. You don't hit anything. You ended up like critting the original boss out of existence.
I critted the easy stage of the boss with my most powerful attack, and then I was screwed.
I mean, that was an annoying fight, but we got over it. And I apparently became Arenoss' princess for one session.
That's certainly true. He showed you the world.
Oh yes, I do.
And that will be me done for now, so I guess Griff's the next one.
Hi, Griff.
This is the third game of Dungeons and Dragons that I've been played a part of, and it's the third unique game. Having played 3.5, Pathfinder, and now 4th edition. Granted, I don't have much experience compared to other players, particularly here, but with 3.5, it felt incredibly clunky. You had a lot of things that you needed to keep a track of. You had your very powers, and specifically as a rogue, I had no magic, so a lot of my stuff was very gear reliant. So when it came to the higher levels, when you had magic users in the team, or in essence you had much more powerful characters such as Thorak, which had a lot of racial bonuses against with them, I felt substantially weakened to it. The reason I bring this up is in 4th edition, and of course, granted, we're still playing in the very low levels. I don't know how it'll pan out in the higher levels. It does seem like it's uniform across the board. Like, you have your specialty areas, but, you know, you're kind of equal. Because you have that specialty area and you have weaknesses, it balances out across the classes. I mean, for example, looking at Alvyn's character, the rogue, he does a lot of damage, and he has a lot of bonuses for getting hit, but he's a small character. So he can only move at a speed of 5, naturally, even with light armor. And then you've got Arenoss, the character who does a lot of damage from range. Well, my character is a tank built. He's built to soak up damage and keep people on him, you know, to take on choke points, focus on him. And I really like it. I like how the system, even by accident, you can still make quite a nice, good build for your character. As long as you put even a little bit of thought to it and you chat with people, you'll still come out with a nice character. So I find the 4th system to be a lot more fun. It's a lot more like hack and slash. It reminds me of Diablo dungeon crawling, where you'd go into the dungeon and you would just hack everything up. And you've got limited resources because you don't have health regeneration, stuff like that. And it reminded me a lot of that. I like the healing surge system. Actually is one of the things I like. It doesn't feel as if you're cheesing it. It does feel as if you're managing your resources a lot more carefully.
Mm-hmm.
You're not jumping yourself into fights that you really can struggle, and it does make you want to be quite tactical about it.
Mm.
So all in all, out of the 3 systems I've played, I would put 4th edition as the top of them. I really do find it enjoyable, especially with the powers. The powers seem to be very nice. The storyline for this game I actually really enjoyed because I had a lot of emotion for some of the characters in regards to, of course, some of the more comical ones, such as Disgust, such as like Toothy, and, well, Mako. Like, the relations that we've had with NPCs actually got you to go with that. I mean, we're slagging off joshing, mocking the sheriff character because he would frequent the brothels and he would be nowhere to be found. The storyline as well also flowed practically as well. Like, you could see why things were happening. It's like, it wasn't a case of, well, now you're going to go and fight demons. It's like, why? It's a random village in the middle of nowhere. Why are we fighting demons? It did have a nice bit of story. And I know you were taking bits of stories from books and, kind of joshing it all together, mixing it up and stuff. But it did flow really nicely, even with, because obviously there has to be an element of innovation and wit about it being a DM. Having been one myself, I sympathize a lot with having to be very smart right off the bat, constantly and really focused. And you really did immerse me into the story quite well. Granted, I was playing as Big Dumb Warrior, as Grimith would describe Thorak, Big Dumb Warrior. I did still feel quite thoroughly immersed into it, and I actually enjoy watching it a second time when Grimith uploads them because they're quite fun to see. You're not thinking only with your character, you get to sit and watch the entire experience unfold. And I get to watch me as a character. I don't need to look at me thinking, okay, how do I move tactically here? I can just relax. Granted, I've already spoiled it for myself because I know what's going to be happening. But I think that says a lot as well, is also for the other players. Each of you I've really enjoyed. Like, starting off at the top of my list with Dark Destiny, I've really enjoyed your inspiration with the roleplay and your friendliness to it. Like, you'll push to help along and you'll be helpful for other people. You'll make a few jokes and you'll be very lighthearted and positive about the entire experience. For Gogher with Arenoss, obviously, you yourself, you're quite new to the entire group as well. I mean, before this, I hadn't even really heard of you.
I've been in the chat a bit, but...
But I've not really heard of you. So it's a case of, I couldn't, immediately think of, right, that's who that is. But I've actually enjoyed having you there, and it's just someone that you're able to come back with things, and you've been, in an in-character way, you've actually been quite good. That you've had Grimith to really clash with in-character side. And I personally think you've dealt with that a lot quite well. Having role-played and, interacted with Grimith quite a lot, I know he is one hell of a character to deal with.
Yeah.
So, so it's quite awesome to see that you were able to handle that really quite well, and you were rolling with it too. Because to be fair, you did get, in character, you got a lot of Saloro.
Oh yeah.
For Sheep, I have to admit, I think you portrayed Alvyn as a fantastic character. You really helped get into the mindset, and I actually could look at Alvyn and actually see a character. I didn't just see you. I could see this money-grubbing gnome that was only really caring for himself. Only really, everything had to be like, oh god, did I have to do this? Do I really need to work? Can you just pay me? It was really nice to see that. It was a character that, it worked with the environment. It was just like, oh, no. It's like, can you go in there? Nope. Why not? Don't want to. And it was quite nice to see that. Grimith,
Thank you.
It's awesome for in an in-character situation. I've only realistically seen you play as a cleric, which was incredibly smart. So that gave me a taster of what you would be in a more main character role. But you were kind of a side character at that point. With Thorak, of course, you were a big dumb warrior. You were able to just take a back seat and you were able to enjoy the scenarios unfold. You did have a bit of involvement. You did encourage a little bit when we were really derping it up, but that aside, it was a case of like, fair enough. In this situation, you got to see how devoted you are to making it. And I even have a taster of when I actually did the Dark Heresy, where you would give me all of the extra additional texts alongside saying, okay, this is what I do between. You get incredibly invested in the character and you build up the character really well. It's always fun to role play with you because you're not too sure what to expect. I can't like put a plot or a case or like a sort of a box over you and say, right, this is what Grimith will roleplay as, because I really honestly don't know. And this was a really novel experience. It was able to see you as a main character really taking things by the horn and going for it, and also being able to deepen your character's history. Obviously showing that there is a lot of depth to Saloro, that he has lived thousands of lifetimes, and it's really taking its toll on him. But he's trying to find other ways of dealing with it, like how to get over all the traumatic past by being jovial, having jokes, making good contacts, and being a bit of a dick sometimes as well. But it all is really quite fun. And of course, finally, with yourself, Jonas, I think, as I already told you regarding your storyline, you've been able to make a living, breathing world with a lot of characters and a lot of really quick, off-the-cuff things. And even with me, I often see myself as quite spontaneous sometimes. For example, walking back to the table, I'll just go, "Hey, how you doing?" And then you just roll with it. You'll just be like, you'll not just go, "They look at you weird." It'll be a case of, then a bit of dialogue happens. You'll just take something and you'll just run with it. You'll just use that to expand the universe a little bit more. And it's not even just with myself, it's with other characters as well. You'll take a moment with Sheep where he was building up this huge trap situation, and then Ameko would come in and there was a bit of dialogue in that. One of the more fun scenes was how that all transpired. And not being a part of it, really, Roldar was just sitting there really quite confused, and I was just watching. Some of my favorite scenes from the entire series for when I was here has to be the interaction between the party and all of those little spontaneous moments. Any in-jokes that developed, such as starting to call Dark Destiny's character Erevan the Spider, starting to utilize purple to really irritate Roldar, it just all worked. There was a lot of chemistry in the group, and I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed the fact that we could all just get in, we could all have a great laugh together, and we could all just really relish and enjoy all of the opportunities. I honestly really enjoy it, and I have fun playing with you guys. So that has been my experience of the Summer of Fun.
Thank you. Well, yeah, that's thanks for that. I'm happy I managed to engross you in this, to make it deliver, bring the world. That is, to sort of give you a bit of a compliment back then from me is that, yes, I'm happy that you find sort of the smaller things sort of enriching the world, and I agree with you, that is what does it. But I will also say that this is very dependent on the group, right? I, as a game master, you need a group that likes to do those small interactions and like to, toss a little bit of that out there, so you actually have something to work with, because you have the main scenario and it's structured and very orderly, it's precise and organized, and the character should go here. And just moving from one station to the next can get a bit, stilted at times. And having a group that then, fires off these smaller sort of, random quips, like you said, like Roldar passing by this woman and they're like, "Hello." That opens up for these kinds of, smaller character building interactions that also builds the world. So yeah, thank you. I will say thank you to the group for supplying me as a game master with things to work with in that regard, and that's very nice.